Today we're talking about the Tilta lightweight cage for the Sony ZV-E1 and the Tilta cooling system fan for the Sony ZV-E1. It's a fantastic little system that comes in really great when you want to prolong your recording times on the Sony ZV-E1. I have tested it in 120 frames 4K, 60 frames 4K, and 25 frames 4K, so I'll let you know that a little bit later on in the film. Let me just tell you a little bit about the cage. I have the small rig one that I bought. They're pretty similar. They both have a nice grip that extends, your grip of the actual camera, so it doesn't feel like it's going to fall out your hand. It makes it a little bit larger. They both have a whole load of 1/4-20s and 3/8 on the actual cage. And they both have 3 mounting points. So the actual points that go on the side where your strap goes, and the 1/4-20 at the bottom. The small rig has a 1/4-20 at the bottom in the middle. In fact, it's got 3 of them. The Tilta doesn't even have 1 in the middle, which is a little bit frustrating. The only way you can get 1 is if you put on the Arca Swiss. And I don't really use Arca Swiss that much. It comes with this Arca Swiss plate you can put on the bottom or on the sides, and you can have it vertically or you can have it horizontally. That's fun and interesting, but in the actual photo, I do have a bone to pick with Tilta. On their website, there is a 1/4-20 hole in the middle of the cage at the bottom where you can mount your, your Manfrotto RC2 plate or your Arca Swiss plate, whatever you guys are using, and you don't have to mount it off center, which is a little bit annoying. So that is the bone picked with Tilta. Apart from that, fantastic cage. It comes with a little, little key here, which is really nice. It's on a magnet, so you stick it on there and it never comes off, and you can quickly loosen or tighten anything you need. The battery comes out really, really nicely and easy. The grip, the extended grip, really fantastic. It feels good. It feels like a larger camera, and it's easier to hold. And, loads of 1/4-20s. It's got around the whole cage. It's very nicely made. You can see it's nicely made. It's got a cold shoe here, and it does come with a NATO, tiny little NATO rail, and the top handle, which you basically just slide on, lock into place, and you now have a very nice top handle with some nice silicone rubber grip at the bottom that has some area locating pins, 1/4-20s, 3/8 for you to mount, monitors or anything you want to mount onto this cage. So it's nice that you can get it on really fast and easy. You don't have to worry about, screwing things in or down. The actual locks for the straps, very nicely made. Every single compartment you want to get to, you can open really easily and close really easily, so nothing gets in the way. Same with the top. Some cages, they get in the way of the actual buttons. Not a problem with this cage. Everything you can actually touch, click and whatever. Now, when I did first get this cage with the cooling fan, which is really cool because the cooling fan is separate, it's $65. The cage by itself is $99, the full cage with the top handle. I closed the screen and I couldn't close this. I was like, okay, that's weird. That is really weird. What you have to do is you have to kind of pull it out of the cage and then close it. This is the storage mode. So that's pretty cool. It kind of slides in and out of the cage. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it kind of slides in and out and just makes storing it really nice and easy. But you got to make sure it's all the way out, and then you can actually close it down. So when you have the monitor open, you got to close it, slide it in, and then this is comprised, it's made of 6 parts, and on top you've got this kind of silicone tape. When you do turn it on, it's very, very, very cold. I mean, it freezes basically. Now, I would have thought that I would have been able to take a normal USB-C cable, plug it into here, and then plug this into my camera. No, this is a 5 volt, 2 amperes input, so it's just impossible. You're gonna have to connect it to a power bank, a USB-C PD, a wall outlet, or a MPF battery. They do have one of those. So once you do turn it on, I'm gonna let you hear how loud it is. 1. So my microphone is about this far. It's here. It's not very far. That's 1. Let's turn on number 2. I'm pretty sure you can hear number 2. Now, I did test these with the decibel meter, and just literally about 10 centimeters away from the actual fan. And I mean, I can hear this. I really can hear this. Number 1's a lot quieter. If I put it closer to the so you can hear it does make a substantial noise, which could disrupt filming if you're filming, you know, with sound. If you have the actual microphones on a lapel or something, or it's, you know, it's really, really close to somebody on the shirt right here, then that will probably okay, but it's louder than a COB light fan. It definitely is. I can really hear it, but it will prolong your recording times. Now, I'm going to show you the 4K 8-bit, 4K 10-bit in 120 frames per second. I'm also going to show you the 4K 60 frames, which basically filmed without stopping until the battery died. And I'm going to show you the 4K 25 frames per second. I filmed with my Sony A7 S3 in the S&Q, so it could just go forever. And I'm actually really surprised by the results. It did make a difference, but like I said, there is a compromise. It's loud. You will hear it. Not that that's a huge problem with 120 or 60, because you're probably using those without sound. But for 25 frames per second, if you want to prolong that and make it just go on forever, then it will be a little bit loud. This is 4K 120 frames per second in 420 8-bit 200. It lasts for just over half an hour, which is actually pretty good. If we up that to 422 and 10-bit at 280, then it's lasting a little bit less at 23 minutes, which still isn't bad, and I don't know who's going to use 120 frames for that long. Now, the 4K 60, I'm sure a lot of you are really interested in it, and this is 422 10-bit 200, so I maxed it out, and so did my memory card. Now, I have a tough memory card in there from Sony, and it's 128 gigabytes, and as you all know, it's pretty expensive, so that's thing maxed out, and the battery basically lasted, but the memory card didn't at 1 hour and 16 minutes. Now, 4K 25 frames per second, back in PAL now, at 422 10-bit 200. It lasted for 1 hour, 50 minutes until the battery completely exhausted itself and died. So, if you can film for almost 2 hours in 4K 25 frames per second with this cooling fan, I think that's an absolutely fantastic result. And this little cooling fan from Tilta is doing its job. So yeah, those are the results, and you know, I think it does a good job. I like that it has the cooling mode and the storage mode, so if you're running around, you're running and gunning, you pull this guy out, you want to close it, take this out, you can walk around and you don't have to take everything off. I like that it kind of screws into the actual cage itself. The only thing that I really don't like is that the actual cage itself doesn't have a 1/4-20 in the middle at the bottom of the cage. I think that's a huge letdown, especially that it is in the actual photos on the website. So Tilta, that's annoying. That really is annoying. Yeah, really nice cage. If you guys have any questions, any comments, drop them down below. By the way, you can get it black and silver, so that's pretty cool. If you like my film, give me a like, subscribe, and you know, ring the bell. If you need an affiliate link, you're going to find one down below. And I'm going to get back to, you know, doing funky stuff. I've got the GoPro feet that I made, and just testing different feet out. That's my week at the moment, and I've got some glass in my eye. It's a fun week. Ow.